Alright, so today I came home and I was just really overwhelmed and I got a lot of stuff going on. And I figured I would do something creative. Um, I cut the grass, and when I was done, I decided to go in my studio and I have a bunch of spray paint. It's just sitting on a shelf, and I picked up a couple cans, and some of them were full, some of them were empty. And so I grabbed, a handful of paint, head over to a blank empty wall. I'm like, you know what? I think I'm gonna make something. So I took about 5 minutes and I sketched out a couple ideas. And at first I was gonna do Miracle 21 or M21, and I just didn't like the M. I couldn't get it to do anything. So so I decided on JAG. It's actually my initials to my name. So my full name is Joseph Anthony Gonzalez, and no one's ever really called me Jag. It's always been something that's kind of funny and kind of stupid, but nonetheless, they're my initials, and I was gonna go for it. So what I'm doing right now is I'm actually just sketching out kind of what I want to do. Based off of the pencil sketch that I did, I knew these were kind of the shapes that I was gonna have to create. And so I just took the green paint, and I knew it wasn't going to be shown in the final piece, and I went to town. So right now I'm just kind of making decisions, and I'm filling in spots, and just working with lines. Graffiti is totally new to me, and I've been doing stuff here and there, just messing around in the studio. So I'm still trying to get my can work right, and getting the flow of the paint and understanding how that works, along with different tips. So now I start working in the red. The final piece is going to be blue and red primarily, and so I'm really just using the red at this point to fill in the shapes and to block out the letter forms. I'm not really sure if I'm doing this correctly or if there's any right or wrong way to do it. I've watched some writers do one letter at a time. Like they'll completely work out one whole letter and then work into the next one. I'm not there yet, so I'm still trying to figure out my own style and my own way of doing things, and just experimenting and learning, and it's really fun. So and this is also really strange, just watching watching myself paint this piece. It's almost like game film. It's kind of interesting to see, I know where I messed up and where I wanted the spray paint to do one thing, but it did another thing. And so it's kind of interesting to watch this back and see what I would do differently. I've already watched this once to kind of figure out what I was going to say. And I was watching it, and I was like, man, I totally should have stopped, or I totally should have took a step back, or took my time a little bit better. But, this was just kind of in the moment, and I just did what felt natural. It's funny because, doing this piece, it's pretty big. It's probably 8 feet across. My arms started getting tired. I'm like, I'm not used to this. So I switched back and forth between hands. At certain points when I was filling it in, it wasn't so crucial. But, so I'm working on the G right now, trying to get that blocked out. I really want to do something different. Overall, these letter forms are really basic. and that's okay, I guess. Some of the best pieces that I've seen have been with really basic shapes. It's just all the detailing that you do inside them. But again, I'm kind of just making this up as I go. I didn't have like a really refined sketch as far as the details and how, the letter forms could overlap. But I make something out of something. At this point, I think I have the red pretty much filled in. I'm just kind of going back over and looking at some different spots. One thing I will say is that you probably should wear a mask when you do this stuff, and gloves. I didn't realize um, how much, I guess, spray gets up in the air. But I'm in a pretty big space, so it wasn't that bad. But yeah, if you're trying to do this at home or inside of a small room, definitely recommend a mask. Alright, so now with this blue color, I'm really just trying to define the shapes even more, giving them highlights, giving the shapes and the letter forms more structure. This is also where I began to make some really decisions, like how this thing was going to look and feel. I'm starting to add in details over the letter forms. I know that I'm going to outline this thing at the very end, so I'm just thinking about what color and what kind of feel do I want this thing to have. Right now, I'm still trying to find my style, and I really like this organic look to it. It's sketchy and messy, and yeah, I'm sure over time I'll refine those lines and get better at the cutbacks and trying to really carve out these shapes. But for now, I'm pretty happy with the final outcome. I'm just adding some dots here, some circles, and trying to figure out what this thing's gonna be. I know I keep saying that, but that's really what I'm doing as I'm standing up there. I don't have a blueprint. I don't have a roadmap. I'm just trying to create something. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but in the background, I'm listening to Drake. Been a huge fan of Drake ever since he came out, and yeah. Alright, so now I start filling in all these gaps with this blue. I figured I wanted the red to really pop, and so I use this blue in the background of all the letters to kind of give the letters some shape. Here I kind of define that J a little bit better. And actually could have did a better job with that. The balance of the letter forms are a little bit off. And that's because I didn't take a step back every now and then and really look at it. I should have, I should have took my time a little bit better and take a step back every now and then. Definitely have to remember that for next time. And I think all of this is just going to come with more experience. I'm a really a do type learner, so I think the more I do it, the more I'll find and I'll remember like to do these certain things as I'm working through a piece. And I really like this paint too. It's super smooth. It's super rich. Like the colors are really, really rich. I think it's Montana that I'm using. The paint was actually given to me by my coworker and creative director, Jeremy Bustos. He had a bunch of paint and gifted it to me, and definitely been putting it to work ever since I got it. But yeah, it's really nice cans. So as I work around this piece, I'm just like scribbling on the outside edges. When I did the first part out of the top of that J, I'm like, I kind of like how it's like just like reacting to the other to the other elements on the wall. And so, yeah, that's kind of that. I just really went around the whole thing and filled it all in. Just filled in some scribbles and just went crazy on it. So now I'm going to throw down a little bit darker blue. I want to think of some kind of shadowing or some type of shaping. And so I took this blue color and just started playing with it. And again, just going around the piece, random spots, adding where I think a shadow would be to kind of define these shapes. The tip that I have on this particular can is a slow flow. I'm not sure what number it is or what color dot it is, but the paint comes out pretty slow. So it gives me just a little bit more control and more of a sketchy type line than I would get with like, a high flow or a fast flow tip. So I'm able to get like these wispy lines because, the paint's just spitting out. It's not really like, it's not coming out super fast. Now this is probably like one of them stopping points where I'm like, you know what, I should probably stop and take a step back, because I really like what's happening on the J. with the shadowing and the dots and the polka dots and the lines. Like, that looks really cool. I wish I would have took just a little bit more time to kind of add, that type of element to the G, and just add more of those types of features. Here again, I'm just adding some details. I really like the contrast between the straight lines and the solid shapes. I think it just adds another dimension to it. I think my arm's getting really tired at this point. I've only been working on this piece for about 15 minutes, 16 minutes. And yeah, like moving your hand around, holding this can of spray paint. It sounds silly, but yeah, your hand does get tired after a while. Your shoulders, your arms. I can see how you can really just train to do this stuff super fast. I'm just trying to add a shadow to the lettering right now. I was experimenting with like twisting and turning the can and to see what kind of like feathering I could get out of it. Sometimes I was successful, getting some of the effects that I was looking for, and other times I was like, oh crap, I wish I could just undo that. Yeah, but it's like, once it's down, it's down. I've heard other people say how you can keep reworking a part and keep reworking and reworking it. I'm just not there yet. I don't know how to do it. I feel like the more times I go over something, I just mess it up. But at this point, I think I'm ready for like an outline. So I kind of grab this black paint and start getting after it. Now this paint's a little different because it's coming out super fast, and so I really have to kind of just go with it, and whatever happens, happens. It's also coming out really fast, and it just started dripping everywhere. And that's cool for some spots, but sometimes you just want like a really clean line. You don't want the drips, but I ended up using them more in this piece than I wanted to. It's actually a really nice feeling when you're working with like a slow tip where like the paint's just like spitting out, coming out really slow, to moving to like a can like this and a tip like this where the paint just comes out so effortlessly. It's nice and smooth. Yeah, the top of that G is a little wacky. The whole G itself could have been a lot better. I had the idea of putting more detail in it and kind of carving that out a little bit more, but I don't know, it wasn't working. Yeah, at this point I should probably go around like the outside edge a little bit more, make it a lot thicker. I think that would have helped out a little bit more, but I guess I could always go back. Here's where the paint was dripping a lot, so I just said, forget it. I'm just gonna use it to my advantage and let it drip. Try to get some of that cool effect going. Now I'm just looking at the composition and just trying to add some filler with this black line. Kind of get some of those organic wispies that I was creating when I was sketching with the green in the very beginning. And so now as I look at it, I think that this is really dark, and so I figured I'd try to add some highlights to it. So I went over, got some white spray paint, and now I'm just like trying to figure out where the heck would highlights go on this. If I put them all on the top, is it gonna look weird? This tip was pretty fast, and so I just kind of whipped it around and just did what felt right. And looking back at it now, there's a lot of times where I'm like, don't put a highlight there, or see, I just messed up on that G. Yeah, I should have left it alone a couple times, but I just kept going. I also really wish I had a hot pink. I think that would have been cool to kind of mix in there, help some of the parts really pop. I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't have did that or that. So now I'm attempting to kind of clean up my mistakes. I'm going and cutting back over the white. Some of the areas I really liked how it came over the black. So I was kind of debating in my head as I was doing this, like whether I should be doing this or not. Because some of the parts are really cool, like down at the bottom of that G, the way that curves over that highlight. I think I eventually cover that up. But you live and you learn. Now I'm just kind of looking around and seeing, where I can kind of clean up that black line again. And I'm not sure. Maybe I should. I think next time I'll like do highlights or do whites like this before I put down the black line. Then I wouldn't have to deal with this. But I really like the way the highlight interacts with the black line in some spots. I wish I could tell myself to undo that G. Yeah, I'm basically done. I should just like put down the can and walk away, but for some reason I don't feel like I'm done. And so just adding some stuff here and there. I hope this was helpful or informative. To watch this being created from the beginning to end, I think this is kind of cool in itself. What started from just a moment in time and a sketch turned into this, so that's cool in itself. Yeah, again, like I'm no professional here. I'm just trying to get into this and see how it feels, and just doing what seems right. And yeah, it was fun. So yeah, let me know what you think. I'm just kind of finishing this up here. And that's it. That's all she wrote.